Well, as Valeria said, in the last few months, I totally immersed into the Russian language and culture, and I had a very clear goal in my head. I want to speak good Russian. Obviously, learning a language requires time and effort, and I'm sure you would all agree that Russian is not the easiest language to learn. Right? However, this time I tried to make learning a bit more fun and also experiment with different learning techniques. So tonight I'd like to share with you some of those techniques that proved very effective in my case. Yeah. Right. Before I start talking about those techniques, I would like to stress one thing here. I have found from my experience that if you want to speak a language at a very good level, you need to love the language somehow. So with Russian, probably that love comes from literature. I know people would love to read Dostoevsky, for example, in the original, or traveling. Some people would like to travel in that vast territory of land, Russia. Women, sorry guys, I forgot to take that out. I'm really sorry. Now you all know why I learned Russian. Okay, no, seriously, in my case, music was a catalyst. I play the bouzouki, a Greek traditional instrument which is very similar to the Russian balalaika. Then, as a mathematician, I came across the life and works of famous Russian mathematicians like Andrei Kolmogorov, the man who set the foundations of probability theory. So in my case, I was quite fortunate to have lots of connections with the Russian culture. I encourage that you find your own love up there, because that will keep you motivated throughout the learning process and will help you overcome any difficulties with your learning. Right. Well, so first method, obviously, films. Films is quite effective. It's multi-sensory, it involves images, sounds, and most importantly, emotions. The visual content is very engaging. Who doesn't like to watch films? Then you listen to tons of audio and dialogues. That's very important, particularly with Russian, because it's a language which, unlike other European languages, has a very wide sound frequency range, starting from 100 Hz, going up to 12,000 Hz. So if you want to reproduce all those sounds, which to most of us are unfamiliar, we're not native speakers, you need to listen a lot, you need to train your ear. Then we move to emotions, and that's very, very important. Emotions in learning are really important. Research has shown that information that is tagged with strong emotional value is much more easily recalled from our memory. And in a film you can awake emotions. You can awake emotions of love, empathy, admiration for the actor, and even anger, even negative emotions are as effective as positive ones in terms of memorization. The question is now, how do you watch a film and at the same time you make good progress in the language? The setup that has worked in my case is this one. So, you have the actual film with English subtitles, transcript in Russian on the left, and the small Google Translate window at the bottom. So the procedure is this. You watch the film trying to understand as much as possible without looking at the subs. If you get stuck, press pause, of course, and have a look at both translation and transcript. And write down, of course, any unknown words. You have a notebook on the side, you keep notes. That small window there is very, very important for different reasons. So, first of all, you can confirm that you match correctly translation and transcript. You are indeed translating the right word. Then you can easily copy and paste from the transcript into the Google Translate. You can play back the phrase or the word as many times as you want. And also, you can find the initial form of the noun or verb. So for example, here we have the form kvartiru, which is the accusative case of kvartira, apartment. Well, I understand that you can't stop on any unknown word that you have, because that would be tiring, it would be so annoying. So, in the beginning, I would suggest that you keep a flow and you're happy while doing this, because if you're not happy, learning is not effective. That's it. So focus in the beginning on the words that you find interesting, the ones that you manage to guess, so you feel happy. Yeah. And yeah, you can always go back and watch the film again and pick up more words. Right, so next technique was inspired by this man, Winnie Pooh, our famous cartoon hero. So this guy all the time walks around and he speaks loudly, he sings a song loudly. This is how I learned Russian, doing exactly that. So I used to walk around and look at objects around me, saying things like, "Что это? Это большой дом. What is this? This is a big house. Это что? What is that? Это машина. Это красная машина. This is a red car." All general things like, "Люди идут на улице. Сегодня хорошая погода." Things like that. The weather's wonderful today. People are walking on the street. I think that this is quite effective because you pair a word in your head in Russian with something that you see in real life, a real object. And also, you hear yourself, you really practice the language, you speak the language loudly, and at the same time, you walk around, you move your head, your hands, so it's a kinesthetic method, very effective. Well, I have suggested this technique to some people, and they told me, well, I'm not going to do that. I mean, people will think I'm crazy. Talking loudly to myself, Russian, on the street, no. Yeah. So, well, my answer to these people is, the more you do this, and the more people look at you thinking that you went crazy, the better Russian you will speak in the end. Yeah, that's for sure. So the excuse. And at the end of the day, people don't care about if you walk and speak Russian, whatever you speak for yourself. They care about their lives. So try this out. Trust me. If I were to single out one method that helped me to learn Russian, it's this one. Right. So now let's move to the grammar sax. Guys, be careful. That's not a U. That's a name. Yeah. Grammar sax. Don't get it wrong. Okay, so this is a good way to learn the grammar cases. The grammar cases is probably the most difficult thing in Russian language. There's so many, 6 different cases, 3 genders, singular, plural, and that applies to adjectives too. Koshmar. Disaster. So instead, I suggest that you learn all these grammar cases as they come to you. Go backwards. Don't start them all before you start playing with the language, but study them as they come to you. Focus on patterns. Focus, trying to make associations in your head. So, for example, you see this form, больницу, to the hospital. I use the case of the noun больница, hospital. Try to remember something similar you have seen. Maybe you have seen школу, или гостиницу. Try to focus on the endings. Both feminine ending in ad. As they come to you, put them in the same sack. Because group them together. They're similar. Obviously, if something new, just create a new sack and wait until something similar comes to you. Yeah. Good. Next one. Right. Let's talk about the vocabulary now. These guys trying to memorize the word следователь. I'm still learning that. Which means therefore, consequently. how do we go about tackling this kind of words? Again, my suggestion is don't try to memorize them as they are. It's impossible. You know 1,000 words very well, and then the next one that comes to you is this one. Yeah? So, right, and that means therefore. Therefore, let's move to the next word. No, don't do that. Spend a little bit of time trying to find out where this word came from. Try to break it down. So, a useful tool again to do that is Google Translate. I don't work for Google. So, sled, trail, следователь, follow, следователь, investigator. So you can see the point now. The investigator who follows the path, the trail, and comes up with a conclusion. Следователь. Therefore, consequently. So you can see the benefit straight away. Instead of one word, which was difficult, you managed to learn 4, which are very strongly connected with each other. That's the most important. And at the same time, you managed to come up with a story. It's impossible to forget the investigator who followed the trail and came up with a conclusion. Therefore, very important. Always link things together, make associations. That extra time spent on this, trying to break the word down, will really pay off in your learning. Keep things in your memory connected. Try to link them all in your head. Well, and the interesting thing, after you do all this process, maybe that word in the beginning didn't ring a bell. You couldn't make any association at all. But after you do all this, you'll probably come up with something that, oh yeah, на следующей неделе, next week, I have seen that. Look at that sled, the same stem. This happened to me. After all this, I remember this phrase. Again, put them all together. Put them together. Yeah, that's it. Всем, thank you very much for listening. Just a few ideas. At the moment, I'm writing a book about the Russian language and with methods like these. The book is going to be published on Kindle Store very soon. If you're interested, please, there is an email list there. Put your email down so I can send you a free copy. I have promised free copies to all of you tonight, so it will be a pleasure to share with you a free copy of the book. And also, you can find some methods and tools on my blog, livediversified.com. You'll find some stuff there too. Yeah, I don't want to spoil the evening with more grammar and vocabulary. Yeah, let's put some cartoons. If you want to find me later and discuss more or ask any questions, I will be happy to do that. Yeah, thank you very much.